Hey, it's Scott Barrett, and you're back live with the burning truth. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be honest, I wasn't going to go live today, and then I really, really can't stop thinking about Survivor Series. So I decided to jump on YouTube Live, TikTok Live, and just talk really quickly through Survivor Series WarGames 2024, right? We had some solid action in Vancouver. Was it enough to stand out in what's been, really an incredible year for WWE PLEs? So I want to break it all down and see where it ranks, and get yourself a coffee. Ooh, Christmas coffee. So the PLE started with the women's War Games match, Team Rhea and Team Bianca versus Team Liv. How did we all feel about this? I must admit, I was torn. I think there were certainly pacing issues. The match was too long, I think, for the stories being told. And for me, I actually heard, I thought it, and then I heard Eric Bischoff say it on his reaction video on 83 Weeks, and it was the repeated weapon grabs under the ring. So every single person who entered the match pretty much went straight under the ring to get a weapon, and it really hurt the flow, right? So it didn't just kill the momentum. So you get the 3, 2, 1, and down they come to the ring. And you didn't just get that. They then, before they get in the ring, they stop, they go under the ring for some weapons, they pull some weapons out, they can't find the weapons, they got to go to the next part of the ring to have a look for the weapon. It took me out of the game completely, and it killed the excitement, it killed the momentum, and it just looks stupid. Really, really stupid, that does. Killed the excitement, yeah, for me, killed the momentum. I think what probably would have been a better idea is if they just had the weapons with them. If they knew they were going to take weapons into the match, just bring the weapons. They don't need to go under the ring for them, do they? You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. I'm unsure if that makes sense. But that's what I think. Bring the weapons with them. If you're going to be in the match anyway, who cares? Some standout spots from that match. I think Rhea Ripley's table finish, with Liv Morgan hitting the, what does she call it? The Riptide off the top rope through the table was really, really, really good. Really enjoyed that, actually. And I also think when, we had Io Sky, Tiffany Stratton, the synchronized cage dives, were huge highlights of the match. Io Sky, especially, for the second year running at Survivor Series in War Games, putting a bin over her head and doing a spot off the top of the cage. Phenomenal. This year, a moonsault. Absolutely brilliant. Crowd energy. I think that this match showed that the crowd felt a bit flat compared to some of the other PLEs we've had this year, especially the international ones. So when I think back to Clash at the Castle, when I think back to Backlash in France, Bash in Berlin, even some of the Saudi pay-per-views this year, I think the crowds generally have been really, really good. And I think the fact that the crowd in Vancouver was not flat, but not as ruckus and rompers as some of the others, I think that it hurt the match's overall impact. And it probably did that to a few matches through the night, if I'm totally honest. I think I keep getting back to Backlash in France because it was the most incredible crowd reaction, and you could feel it through the TV. I couldn't feel it. And I suppose sometimes that just adds to the match. So they didn't get that, 11th man it would have been in War Games. The result for the women's War Games match, I think the result was probably right. It was the right call having the baby faces go over, and it does set up some intriguing possibilities for the future. We've still got Rhea and Raquel. We're going to get a good couple of matches there. We're still going to get Rhea and Raquel. We're still going to get Tiffy cashing in at some point, and what that means for the women's division. I did actually, this is a good one. It's not out yet, but it should be out in the next 24 hours. The podcast that me and Matt Burns did this week, The Burning Truth, I actually pre-booked the Women's United States Championship from Saturday night's main event all the way to WrestleMania. And I included Tiffany Stratton within that pre-book, actually, and used her money in the bank to cash in on the United States title. So well worth listening to that when it comes out. But that's what I would maybe do with Tiffany Stratton, just to, because although I am intrigued the possibility of Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton having a rivalry because she's cashed in on her, etc. I'm also not as into that as I could be into other stories. We've also got, right, women's division, while we're talking about it, loads of interesting possibilities. We've also got the potential return of Becky Lynch, the potential return of Charlotte Flair. There are a lot of characters missing at the moment. Alexa Bliss, Carmella. So we could go a lot of different ways in the women's division. I'm excited about it. I really am. I'm just hoping we draw a line over some of these other stories. Io Sky and Bailey don't need to revisit that. Liv Morgan, I believe, is going to start feuding with Io Sky now. So yeah, there's loads of places we can go. But I suppose my overall impression of this WarGames match was that it was a match with real potential, but it didn't quite, for me, hit the heights I was hoping for. Didn't quite do as well as I wanted it to. Let's talk about the next match then, eh? So that was the United States Championship, and that was LA Knight defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know how you guys felt about this, but for me, Nakamura winning was a surprise. In fact, the match being on the PLE after a 2-week build-up was a surprise to me anyway. But even more so than Nakamura winning was a complete surprise to me. I suppose it does align with the fact that they've booked him really strong over the last 2 weeks, especially against LA Knight. They've made him look like, a really credible threat, and I suppose that came true because he won the title. But I think the build maybe hurt the match. Or the lack of build-up maybe hurt the match, and I think it might have been better suited, maybe waiting a few more weeks before we had this match, maybe doing it at Saturday night's main event. I'm not sure what your thoughts are on that, but that was just what I thought. If it is, though, yeah, let me backtrack that. So I think we should have waited till Saturday night's main event before we did this match. But if this is only the beginning of the feud and we're going to get a bit of a longer story, if this is a really quality beginning of the story, beginning, middle, and end, if this is the beginning, then I'm here for it. If this is, teetering on middle because it's quite a short story, I don't know how excited I can be about that because I don't think it's built for long enough. It does feel a risk. It feels a risk that it's been rushed and there being no follow-through. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I think chemistry, the pairing of Nakamura and LA Knight, I think it worked well. Definitely contrasting styles, but the two of them have both got charisma in absolute buckets. I suppose it's just that one's got charisma. They've got charisma in very different ways. LA Knight, much more a vocal showman, whereas Shinsuke Nakamura has an aura, an absolute aura. And is very charismatic in the way he holds himself, his movement, and his general, I said aura, didn't I? Aura's right. Yeah, absolutely. Crowd reaction for this one, a mild pop, I would say, for the title change. And this is possibly because the crowd in Vancouver, they probably popped a little bit because they never seen a title change before. So I don't know if you know this. This is the first ever title change in Vancouver for the WWE. So mild pop. And like I said for the first one, the Vancouver crowd, they were okay. It wasn't huge, it wasn't a huge reaction. So they had a bit of a pop because there was a title change, but I think that was about it. And then Knight's future. So I think if I'm talking about LA Knight going forward, I think that he needs to lose this feud long term, right? It needs to be stretched a little bit longer than doing 2 weeks and then a title match. But he needs to lose this feud cleanly eventually, because I think I'm not the only one who will say it. We want to move LA Knight on to a world title feud, surely. We want to move him up the card. He has been so good in this role. He's been steadily building for the last 2 years. The crowd are behind him. I mean, I was at the Motor Point in Nottingham 3 weeks ago watching WWE Live, and even at the house shows, used to call them the live event. People love LA Knight, absolutely massive for him. So yeah, LA Knight needs to move up the card, and so long term he needs to lose this feud, but we need to get more out of it. It needs to be a better story, because if it's just squash him and move him on, that doesn't do anyone any favors. Next, maybe the match of the night. I'm here for it, but I'll by all means, we can argue it out. Intercontinental Championship, Bron Breakker defending against Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. And yeah, I think this match of the night, excellent dynamics, to use that word. Sheamus, Kaiser, Breakker, fantastic together for me. Sheamus is thriving. And actually, in terms of character work, I would say that Sheamus is in the prime of his career. Kaiser, easy to hate heel, and Bron Breakker is the future star of the business. I think, if you could take Bill Goldberg's intensity and Brock Lesnar's physicality, oh my God, you've got Bron Breakker. He is an absolute beast, and he's going to be champion, right? He's going to be the guy eventually. We just got to get there, and how slowly or how quickly we do that will depend on what else is going on at the top of the card. I think for me, though, in this one, Breakker defending the IC belt was probably the right call. He needs to dominate until the main event scene opens up for him, and there isn't room for him right now. To what I just said, we've got a lot. The card is stacked. There is so many huge characters at the top of the card, and he'll get lost. So we maybe need to give him 12 months. Maybe 18, just continuing to absolutely maul through this mid card. Once he gets tired on Raw, we can move him over to SmackDown. He hasn't been on the main roster all that long, right? So we've got time with him. And I think Intercontinental title reign, he should hold it until he doesn't need to hold it anymore. It wouldn't have been the right call to take it off him this early, especially as he's only just lost it and retained it from Jey Uso. Yeah, that's where I am. Standout spot for the match, though, thanks for the reminder on TikTok, was the Brogue Kick on Bron Breakker. So Sheamus hit the Brogue Kick on Bron Breakker that felt like the finish for me. I thought it was the finish. And Kaiser pulls the ref out of the ring at the last second. It was about 2 3/4 on the count. So really, really good there. Brilliant suspense. Great moment in the match. Great beat of the story. The crowd was engaged throughout, but I don't think they did a great job of taking this to the next level. They needed the fourth man. They needed the crowd to help them out here, and I don't think it did. But still, for me, match of the night. Hard-hitting, story-driven bout, and I think it delivered in every way. I have heard reports that Sheamus is potentially injured following this, which would be such a shame because, like I say, he's in the form of his life right now. In terms of character, not maybe in terms of ring work, but in terms of character right now, Sheamus is in his prime. I've just said it again, in his prime. Moving on, 2 matches left. So we're 3 down, 2 to go, right? And this was the World Heavyweight Championship match. And in this one, we had Gunther, the reigning defending world champion, defending against Damian Priest. Oh, that coffee's good. Pacing, storytelling, it was slower than the matches before. It had a deliberate pace that I think really worked well for this match. Gunther retaining was the right choice for me. Gunther's reign needs to continue for me into 2025. Priest. Oh, I'm going to upset people here. As much as people like Damian Priest, I just don't. Right? I can't get on board with him. I don't feel like he's main event. For me, I don't mind seeing him in the mid card. I don't mind seeing him in the upper mid card. But I didn't buy him as the champion when he was the World Heavyweight Champion, and I just don't get it. Right? What everybody else gets, I don't get. Yeah, in terms of his performance, I would say solid but unremarkable. It wasn't a breakout showing by any stretch, and I still don't think he's proven yet that he's ready for the top spot. I think his title reign was not a disaster, but it was underwhelming. Gunther's done a much better job since he's been the champion. Key moment of the match, Finn Balor's interference added some drama. Gunther and Damian Priest were up on the second rope. Looked like we were going to get a superplex. Gunther was knocked off into the ring, and at the same time, Damian Priest fell to the floor. And as Damian Priest fell to the floor outside the ring, we had Finn Balor jump over the barricade, up onto the steel steps, and then hit a coup de grace onto Damian Priest outside the ring. And what I thought was really good here was that Gunther wasn't happy with that. He rolled out the side of the ring, and as Finn was sort of showing off after he'd taken out Damian, Gunther just absolutely took Finn out with a clothesline on the outside of the ring, got Damian back in the ring, and then went straight to the finish. I think winning with the submission was the right thing. I think we talked about Gunther. I understand why we've done the interference thing, because the story was around Gunther being scared or not confident enough that he could beat Damian Priest. I mean, we all know Gunther had absolutely mauled Damian Priest in reality. But the fact that Finn did interfere, maybe gives hope for another match, a rematch down the road. Not that I'm particularly looking forward to it, but there are a group of Damian Priest fans that would really like to see that. And I think the submission finish was the right thing, though, because it showed that Gunther, it still showed dominance, right? Which is what we want. Crowd energy, again, passable, but I don't think it elevated the match again. Like I said, I think generally Vancouver, you let yourselves down, guys, if you're watching. And my overall impression of this World Heavyweight Championship defense, I think a strong match that highlighted Gunther's dominance. But again, I think it lacked the excitement, this one, to truly stand out. I really do. I think it lacked some excitement. And finally, I suppose, the main event. So let the WarGames begin, as they say. The OG Bloodline versus the new Bloodline, or as I've been calling them on the podcast, the Burning Truth podcast, me and Matt Burns, weekly, if you're not already subscribed. We've been calling him the fake Bloodline or the Floodline. And this week, actually, I did, you'll like this, I did say that the Bloodline's a bit like the Sugar Babes, because the lineup's completely changed now from when it first started. And when the old Sugar Babes tried to reform the group and come back, they couldn't use the name Sugar Babes because there was already a Sugar Babes. So this is exactly what I mean. OG Bloodline, Floodline, fake Bloodline. Yeah, a thrilling main event, actually. I said that the Triple Threat IC match was the match of the night. It was. But this was excellent also. It delivered exactly what it needed to. The CM Punk Roman Reigns dynamic, the tension between Punk and Reigns, perfectly balanced, added drama, but it didn't take over the match. It was just enough. We got beats where Reigns and CM Punk staring each other down before the match. There was obviously tension as they went into the cage. It was CM Punk's turn to head to the ring for his entrance, and Reigns put his hand in front of Punk and told Sammy to go first. And then next, Reigns was going to enter, and before Reigns could enter, CM Punk barging past him to get in. We had stuff like moments like Heyman coming out and rallying Punk and Reigns together for the finish of the match. Bronson Reed with that incredible tsunami from the top of the cage through the table, and CM Punk pulling Reigns off at the very last second to save him. That's after as well. Reigns had hit Punk with a spear accidentally. So yeah, some fantastic moments in this match. I nearly forgot Jacob Fatu's springboard moonsault that went wrong, if you like. And caused a knee injury. I'm not sure if it's a legit injury or not, or if he was selling, but absolutely fantastic. I think in the moment, everyone watching was like, "Oh my God, is Jacob Fatu okay?" Because he was rolling around with his knee for ages. But really, really great match with some amazing moments. The finish, clean, satisfying, big win for the good guys. We had super kick, double super kick. We got haluva kick in the corner from Sami Zayn. We got GTS followed by the spear, and Roman Reigns picks up the win for his team. Really satisfying. I think probably everyone watching, though, then hoped for some sort of twist, turn, cameo, and I'm gonna put it out right here. I'm actually glad we didn't get that. I think it was refreshing to end on that celebratory note, to end on the baby faces getting the win. I think it was the right call, absolutely. And because what it does is it just sort of brings us all back down. Let's just enjoy it for a minute before whatever comes next with, the final boss, The Rock, with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, with Paul Heyman and what he's going to do, with what's next for Solo and Jacob Fatu. I just think, let's just take a beat, take a breath, because what we can't do is every single premium live event is do some sort of huge shock afterwards. We did it a little bit at Bad Blood and nothing's come of it yet. But if we'd done it again tonight, it would have felt a bit like this is what to expect at the end of a PLE. And I don't ever want to be in the position where I'm expecting something at the end of a PLE. So I'm glad that we didn't get it this time because I don't want it to become an expectation. Crowd reaction for the main event, again, passable. Vancouver just didn't deliver the energy that we've seen from other international crowds this year. I know I've said it already, but yeah, let themselves down for me. The overall impression I had of this main event was that it was really strong main event, and it sets up some exciting stories for the rest of this year and then into the road to WrestleMania, right? And that is, honestly, what we're all waiting for. I think, yeah. Overall thoughts for the show, a solid show, let's say, solid show. Not the strongest PLE of the year by any chance, but you know, banger after banger after banger. At some point, you have to let it breathe. You know, if you keep, it would be impossible to keep hitting the same levels they've been hitting consistently. And I think at some point, one of these PLEs did have to dip slightly in quality. They didn't have that extra man helping them in the crowd, you know, really pushing the stories along and the excitement. And the workers, yeah, the wrestlers, the superstars, they feed off that energy and they need that energy. So, you know, not having that will have affected performances as well, I think. Match of the night for me, Intercontinental Championship triple threat, masterclass in storytelling and in physicality, to be fair. And for me, the biggest letdown of the night, probably crowd energy. And I'll say it again, Vancouver did not bring the fire compared to other recent audiences. On the Burning Truth, we rate via bangers. And I think my review of Survivor Series, I think is banger after banger after banger. So 3 bangers, 4 out of 5. 3 out of 5 bangers for no, not the number 4. 3 out of 5 bangers for Survivor Series WarGames 2024. And that is a wrap of this week's or this month's or this special, as it is, Survivor Series WarGames review on YouTube Live. What's next for WWE? What storylines will take us into the new year? Only time will tell. One thing is for sure, I'll be here to break it all down for you. Hopefully not solo Sokoa next time, and I'll be here with my normal co-host, Matt the Hammer Burns. If you want to keep this conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, and Facebook at The Burning Truth. You can catch all our episodes for the podcast and any live reactions that we do on our YouTube at The Burning Truth 251. We're also on TikTok at The Burning Truth 251. If you've got any thoughts, predictions, or questions, you can shoot us an email also at info@theburningtruthuk.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. It really helps us grow the channel and it keeps the wrestling communities buzzing. If you haven't yet, check out the Burning Truth Christmas Jumper 2024 on our website, theburningtruthuk.com. It's your ultimate tag team partner for the Christmas season. And so until next time, stay hyped, YouTube. Enjoy the action, and I'll see you soon for another Burning Truth review. See you soon, guys.